What's up, guys? Welcome back to Biopilot Arms. Today we're going to be talking about some gun control. Well, more specifically, an interview with a senator that Jon Stewart did, and we're going to be watching that together. And I'm just going to be pointing out stuff or making an argument, alongside the senator, just because, well, I just I find that sometimes people don't argue the common sense portion. They try to use too many statistics and stuff, and it's like there's pretty simple points that are very easy to be left out. As well as, well, I like complaining about things, so, well, here we go.
I'm a strong proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the one right that's listed in the Constitution that uses that very specific affirmative language, shall not be
Well, it's
infringed.
also the one right that uses the phrase well regulated.
Correct, when it's talking about the militia and the state.
By the way, just
Yeah, people people love to argue that point about it being about a militia and that it's a regulated as as it pertains to a militia, and that you know uh it it's only supposed to be for the militia. But dude, there's did people not take English class? Like, there's two clauses in the Second Amendment cut in half by a comma. The militia does not apply to the people. The people are separate from that. Also, it says it shall not be infringed, like he just said. So I don't understand. Whatever, but okay, continue.
just for clarity's sake,
Yeah.
I'm not against the Second Amendment. I'm not
Sounds
against. I don't
like
want
it.
to ban guns, but you're saying more guns makes us more safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we got 400 million guns in the country, we had an increase and gun deaths went up. So when exactly does this curve hit that takes it down? Would a billion guns do it?
Let's just run those numbers, 400 million, 50,000. You're talking about a less than a fraction of not even a percent, of 100th of a percent.
But it goes up, not down. So your argument is backwards.
But if you want,
No, your argument doesn't make any sense. Like, he's insinuating that just because there's more guns, that gun homicides and deaths and all that go up. Well, duh. Like, I'm sorry, but the people who try to argue against his point right here are not being honest, because yeah, they'll be like, oh, well, they'll try to play statistics and be like, oh yeah, well, it only goes up by like a fraction of a percent or this and that, and it's like, well, no, it's just common fucking sense, bro. Like, if there are more cars on the road next year than this year, yeah, there's going to be more accidents. There's going to be more car deaths. If, I mean, it's been what, like in the last 50 years, heart disease has gone up. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with all of the seed oils and trans fats that are now in our food. Like, duh. If you increase the number of anything, interactions with that item go up. That's just that's just basic common knowledge, common sense, and I don't understand why he's trying to use this like an argument as if it's like, oh, the worst thing ever. It's like that's just normal, bro. Like, oh my God. I just how stupid can you be? All right, let's keep let's hear some more.
okay, so let's come up with a solution. Okay, so one of the issues, a contributing factor, again, I believe it's the individual that is the problem.
So your solution to that is give them more guns.
So I'm saying that because people are the problem, we need to look at the problems that those people are facing and how do we address it. For
But you've
instance,
removed the ability for the state to do that.
no, because you're
If you don't have background,
Okay, I'm sorry. So first of all, what he should have said right there, what instead of reverting back to the what he said about, okay, it's the individual, when Stewart sits there and goes, yeah, but you know you want to give them more guns? We're not giving the people who are going to do bad things with guns. We're allowing more people to carry guns to protect themselves. Okay? That's it. That's it. Like, why they keep misinterpreting this intentionally, I, it just it well, I know why. It's because they're proponent of gun control. Obviously, Jon Stewart does not respect the Second Amendment and actually wants to ban guns if he's arguing these things. Now, let's just hear what he has to say about background checks. I bet you anything he's going to say something about universal background checks. I bet you anything he's going to say something about that.
Background checks, and you don't have registration and permitting, how do you know who has a problem in terms of the people who you're giving a gun to?
Do you want to talk about the background checks first, or do you want to talk about solutions first?
I want to talk about
A lot of these mass shootings that happen are done with guns that were purchased legally or purchased off the black market, which you can't stop that. So I fail to see how anything that he has said is like, because a lot of these people who purchase them legally and then go shoot a place up, first of all, they're shooting up a place that's usually a gun-free zone, and second of all, they bought the gun legally. So if somebody goes crazy and wants to kill people, it doesn't matter. They could have had to go through a background check for ammo, a background check for the gun, registering the gun, and then turning around and having daily checks from the police coming to their house to make sure their guns are locked up correctly. All it takes is for them to walk out the door when they're not being continuously surveilled and then just go shoot something up. Like there is no way to stop it. Okay? You can you can maybe see some symptoms beforehand and maybe address it so that the person doesn't make the choice to do something, but ultimately, if someone chooses to do a crime, they're going to do a crime. Okay?
what you're doing is you're bringing chaos to order.
That's your subjective opinion that it's bringing chaos to order.
It's not my subjective opinion. We have 50,000 gun-related deaths. That's not a subjective opinion.
Okay, so
that's dead people.
Okay, I'm sorry. 50,000 deaths, and we have, what, is it like 360 million people in the United States? More people die with hammers and fists a year and in car accidents and from heart disease than gun deaths. And you're telling me that that's like a huge problem? I'm not trying to downplay that people die. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, 50,000 really isn't that much, especially when you look at other countries who have stricter, gun control or no gun control at all. It really doesn't matter. They just there's a ton of other countries that have higher gun deaths per capita and or overall gun deaths. I mean, look at Mexico. Oh my God, look at Mexico. You've got one gun store in the entire country, yet the cartels have RPGs and machine guns, and people are dying all the time in gun battles. It has nothing to do with with limiting the number of guns.
Let me back up for a second. In every other place in your life, you want to bring order, but guns are the outlier for you. So let's start with immigration. You want registration, maybe a wall, maybe not a wall. Why do you want that?
Well, one of the reasons is because the fentanyl crisis.
Right.
I mean, okay.
Oh, I
but-
see. I see where he's
when
going
it's
with
coming
this.
across. So what do you
But
do?
the fentanyl crisis is twice what the gun death crisis is.
Okay, so until the gun crisis gets
No.
to the fentanyl level,
Not until it.
you don't want to bring order.
No, not until it. But
But do you
if we're
see
gonna
my
talk-
point?
You don't. But do you see my point? You don't have a point, Jon Stewart. Okay? Because guess what? You don't have a constitutional right to cross into our country legally. You don't have a constitutional right to shove fentanyl down people's throats and kill them, okay? You do have a constitutional right to own any type of arm armaments that you want, carry them, and keep them in your home for self-defense, for hunting, for whatever, okay? He's he's equating a right to own a gun, which is a right in this country, to somebody illegally crossing the border. Those two things are not equal, John. They just aren't.
Point.
If we're going to talk about protecting lives, that's a larger issue in America
Yes.
than guns is. If we're talking about individual lives of
Yes.
ways that they can be protected, loss of life in America, there's loss of life through fentanyl. There's loss of life through obesity. The obesity crisis in America costs 6 times the number of lives as guns.
Right.
And
And
so,
you're the guy saying, you know what would help this? Ice cream.
no. So, you know what would help the problem that we're facing with firearms?
What?
The fatherlessness crisis that we have in America. If you look at the statistics,
Right.
What
Yeah.
the fuck was that smirk, bro? Like, what the like uh, I, what a fucking asshole, bro. Like he's bringing up an actual solution, a possible solution to this problem. And Jon Stewart just like that little smirk. Oh my god, what a pretentious fucking douchebag, bro.
Yeah, they're
80
dying from gun deaths.
80%
Yeah.
of school shooters either came from a broken or fatherless home. If
So you
look
would say no
comparative-
guns for fatherless homes?
No, that's not what I would say.
Oh.
I would say that fathers need to be more engaged.
Great. So let's
crime with
let's
a
put
firearm if
more-
they don't have a
let's
father
put
in the
more
home.
resources into areas that are poverty-stricken. All for it.
And into fatherlessness, and that's something that we're
But
doing
why,
in
with
Oklahoma.
guns, are you against bringing order?
I'm not against bringing order.
You are. You're also making it less safe for cops and for people. When the police go to a domestic.
I'm sorry. No. Here in Texas, it's funny. Do you know who commits the least crimes? Take a guess. Concealed permit holders. They are the most law-abiding in the state. They commit less crimes than the general population, and they commit less crimes than police officers. So when you talk about, oh, it's not going to be as safe for police, I'm sorry, but I would trust the guy next to me who has a concealed carry permit and a dozen AR-15s in his house than one of the police officers that's on the street.
Call. It's the most dangerous call they can go on. In your world, if they knew that there were firearms in the house, that's a safer call. Is that what you're saying?
No, because police.
Because why?
Because police treat every situation as a potential.
But more guns makes us safer. So why don't, when the police go to a house filled with guns, why don't they breathe a sigh
They
of
do it all the
relief,
time, bro.
knowing that this Second Amendment that shall not be infringed is being exercised so fruitfully in this home?
Are you familiar with the 39-year-old woman in New Jersey?
I'm familiar with the
Okay, hold on. So he's saying, oh, well, the cops, are gonna feel afraid when they go to a home with guns in it because it's a domestic disturbance call. Okay, regardless of whether or not there are guns in a house for a domestic call, police go to that call already with their ears perked up because domestics, regardless of guns being there, are always dangerous. And guess what? Sometimes cars are involved, knives are involved. It's not just about guns, number one. And number two, I don't know about you, but the whole point to the Second Amendment is to stave off tyranny. And if a gun is afraid that when they go into a house that there might be a gun involved, good. Good. Because that'll make them think twice about doing things that are unconstitutional. Am I saying that it's a good thing that a domestic disturbance has a gun that they might shoot a police officer? No. But the fact that any call they go to may involve a firearm, so they have to think about it and tread lightly, yeah, I'm all for that. Because that means that when they bust in my house with a no-knock warrant because they got the wrong door number and they get shot because of it, because I don't know they're police that are busting in my door, or someone else's door for that matter, next time they'll be a little more careful, don't you think?
Ton of anecdotes.
Yeah,
I'm
this is
asking
not-
you a
this is-
simple
this
question.
is not an anecdote,
When the
John.
police
This actually happened.
go to a
She had a
house,
restraining order on her ex-boyfriend.
I
of an
can run
individual.
through
I know we can both run through
hundreds and
them.
hundreds of examples of women killed by their domestic partners by guns that were not taken away through the lessening of red flag laws. You're pivoting
But the
to
knives-
anecdotes.
No, this is not anecdotes.
What the police say, if we had gun registration, if we were able to track purchases, they have a technology that every bullet would be stamped with an individual like a fingerprint. If we had an ATF that wasn't defunded, we would be able to enforce gun laws more effectively, and we would be able to solve gun crimes more effectively. You're against all of
You wouldn't be able to do literally any of that, okay? Because all it's going to do is it's going to stop law-abiding people from accessing firearms. Criminals are still going to buy 3D printed firearms, counterfeit firearms, guns smuggled across the border. They're still going to get firearms. You're not going to be able to track those because they won't have the same type of technology that you're talking about. And in addition to that, gun registration has always resulted in the taking of the guns. Germany, China, Russia, like anywhere you can think of with a totalitarian or authoritarian government, it's always happened. And I'm sorry, but stamping the bullets and registering the guns, like I said before, is not going to prevent somebody who already has that and they go crazy from doing anything. Yeah, you might be able to, catch them afterward, but did you save anybody? No, people are still dead, right? Because guess what? They walked into a gun-free zone and then they got blasted by this guy who got his gun legally, okay? So,
that.
Because the person is the threat, not the firearm,
Exactly.
not the knife.
I get it.
The person and the individual is the one that is the concern
Great,
here.
but you don't want anything that could help law enforcement or society determine whether or not a person is a good guy with a gun or a bad guy with a gun.
Most
The
even law
registry
enforcement.
would allow you to have much more effective background checks. So I don't understand why you
oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I forgot to say it before, but he's talking about background checks. The NICS, the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, sucks. Do you know why? Anybody who's convicted of a state felony might not be on that list. So you might be a felon and still be able to walk into a store and buy a gun because the NICS FBI check does not have your state felony on record. And it's happened multiple times, right? I think a couple mass shooters were actually supposed to be denied and were not denied by the NICS check system because government is ineffective and completely incompetent. So him talking about, oh, well, this will make it more effective because we have more checks and balances. Yeah, how's that working out for you right now? We have these laws on the books, and the laws that are currently on the books are not effective at all. So why are you talking about putting more convoluted, rigorous laws on the books with more and more steps? Every step you add to a process just makes it harder to enforce. So, and it's going to cost more money too.
won't just admit that you are making it harder for police to manage the streets by allowing all of these guns to go out without permits, without checks, and without background stuff. Why is that hard? Why can't you just stand by that?
Because that's not what I'm doing. I'm defending the individual's right to keep and bear arms.
That's a different argument.
Okay, but
you
we
may
keep
do.
trying-
Here's what I'm saying.
That's not
you
a
wanna
different
say I'm
argument,
a
though.
Second Amendment purist, and I'm making it safer. You're not. You're making it more chaotic, and that's not a matter of opinion. That's the truth.
That is a matter of opinion.
It
John.
is a matter of
Why
opinion,
take
bro.
away their tools?
Because certain of their tools that they're using.
Why take away their tools? Bruh, a gun is a tool. You're trying to take away my tools to protect me, my family, my dog. Like, bruh, what? d- Does he not hear himself?
would be infringements upon the people's right to keep and bear arms, upon their constitutional rights, upon due
So you're
process,
saying
upon other things.
that registering is an infringement?
Yeah.
Okay. Is voting a right?
It's a
Not
right for
really.
citizens, yes.
Do you have to do anything to do it?
Yes.
What do you have to do?
It depends on the state.
What do you have to do?
Sometimes you have to be at least 18 years old.
What do you have to do?
And in some
going.
places you have to have a government-issued ID.
Okay. Again, he's making an equivalency that doesn't fucking matter. Okay? He's sitting here going, "Do you have the right to vote?" It's like, sort of. It's not in the Bill of Rights, right? It wasn't enumerated to begin with, right? It was originally given to people, first of all, it was originally given to men who owned land. And then they changed it over the years, and more people got the right to vote, and then women got the right to vote, and then, eventually civil rights allowed, African Americans to vote, and so on and so forth. But that is not how it started, right? He's trying to say, oh, well, because you have to register to vote, you should register your firearms. From day one of the Constitution, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right? Voting is not the same as that.
What do you have to? You have to
You have to be on the voter rolls.
register.
Oh, and this point doesn't even hold water anymore because there are states and municipalities that are allowing illegal aliens to vote. So registering means literally fuck all at this point. Okay? Nobody cares anymore about, oh, well, you have to register to vote, because if an illegal alien can just hop the border and then just go vote, does it even matter if you're a citizen? If non-citizens are voting? So this is a terrible argument anyway.
You have to register. So you have to register to a right. Is that an infringement?
Does the right to voting say shall not be infringed?
Oh, so this is just a semantic argument now.
No, it's not.
You believe voting rights
Semantic
can
argument?
be infringed.
Semantic argument? Literally, the Second Amendment is the only right that specifically says shall not be infringed. The only one. Okay? So it's not semantic, it's literal. This guy, bro.
Because it doesn't say specifically shall not be infringed.
Is it an infringement upon a 17-year-old's right to vote, since they don't have that right to vote?
No.
Oh, it's not an infringement on them?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Because you're the one making the argument, not me. I'm saying even rights have responsibilities, and that within those responsibilities are responsibilities and order. Otherwise, it's chaotic.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys for watching. That was kind of hard to sit through. Uh, I was greatly annoyed by his demeanor, and his arguments were pretty terrible. Uh, I will say the senator did not give the best pushback, but he has to be careful with what he says, unlike me. So, that's my opinion. Anyway, guys, if you like the video, like the channel, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Drop a comment down below. And I should be having my new TAC Pack video for January, February, March out in the next couple days. Probably maybe even next weekend. I'm just waiting for it to get to me, basically. Freaking USPS, well, they're slow. Yeah. Government inefficiency and incompetence, right? Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.